This episode is partially brought to you by the Humble Choice program. Did you know Humble Bundle has a great monthly subscription service that lets you get a ton of video games every single month? That's right, from plans range from $5 to $20 a month, you get a hold of a bunch of free games they have available to you. And you could use our code down in the description below to go and sign up. It would help our podcast and help you see what great games are available for you this month.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 52 of this here SWW show. This episode might be cursed.
We talked about this. It's not cursed. It's just a little cursed.
But this isn't the first one where we've lost a recording due to power outage.
I think this is the furthest we've lost one, though.
Yeah, we lost one like right as we started.
Mm-hmm.
Which was fine, like whatever. We really didn't lose much. The last time we recorded this, we had like, 45 minutes recorded. We're going through we're going through the news, and all of a sudden my monitor's cut out, and I just lost power. I really wish it would have captured that. That would have been hilarious to hear on the record.
That was pretty good. So yeah, just so people are aware, yeah, we're gonna try to pretend that nothing happened, but something totally happened. So
yeah,
we might apologize.
A few stories happened. Something that we were going to talk about this point, so we changed.
Mm-hmm. But it is hopefully the same. Also, this is the tightest since this goes out tomorrow. I just want to point out.
Yeah, as we're recording.
I don't think we've done.
No, didn't we have one where like it was day of?
We might have had that. That's fair. This is the one. It won't be late.
We had something that was like day of recording. That was not fun.
This one I'm hoping won't be as bad because on HSN, just because usually these aren't.
Yeah, the SWWs and the movie clubs are a little easier. It's more of a win. There are some interviews that we've done that, like, hey, we need this by Friday, and we record it on Wednesday. Ready them.
Which is why I try not to do that to you, for the record.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to figure it out. Kind of got a little pipeline. Speaking of making life easy, actually, it's the exact opposite. Luckily, I haven't had any interactions with this stuff. I haven't really thought about interacting with it. Jumping into games, I have played Hogwarts Legacy for almost 19 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
It is. It's a bunch of fetch quests, I guess is the best way to describe it. If you really enjoy Harry Potter world, because like you're not gonna see characters from, right? Like there's no Severus Snape, there's no Hagrid, there's no Harry, Hermione, Ron. Those characters aren't in this. But if you really love that world, I would say you could check it out. Or you should check it out. If you're not a huge fan of that, which is kind of the position I'm in, I could take it or leave it. But I wanted to see, like, okay, how do they handle the world of Harry Potter in a video game, right? Because, like, there were PS2 era games coming out around when these came out. and they were horrendous. So I was like, really can only go up from there. And there were a couple, I think Lego had one or two. But it had kind of been this weird, like,
This license is a weird license
yeah.
because it totally has been around. Like, it's one of those things that's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's a license that has existed. It's been adapted into several different things. And video games were just, like, not even approaching it. And I feel like that might have been partially due to the situation where, for the longest time, like, WB had so many had exclusive and just didn't do anything. Like, it wasn't a Activision Tony Hawk situation where, you know, the license contract had X amount of games. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. Uh, it really doesn't seem like class stuff matters or house stuff. I should. Um, because in the dialogue you kind of have a nice option and a snark option. So you can play anything however you want. Um, there are a few things early on that, like, you're explicitly told from one character, like, hey, we're sticking with this story, and that's all you're going to tell anyone. You're given the option to tell the truth, which I didn't do. I stuck with my story because I ain't raising a bitch. But it just feels like the dialogue stuff doesn't.
That's interesting. I understand what's really the point of it because they could say you have it, but like, do you feel there's any point to it or no? Like, is there anything you've seen at all that matters?
Not really, because you'll have, like, you know, talk to a side character that can give you a quest or just a side quest. Not all of them are fetch quests, but a lot of them
Huh.
are. And you can just kind of mash through the dialogue, and then you're just approached with, "Oh, I'll do it. I'll do it later." It's like, "I'll do it. I'll come back to you later," or no. Pretty much your three. I've never said no because why say no?
Hmm.
Say no, you're actively removing it from the game and can't. I don't know why you would do that. Yeah, and then also along the lines of a game that I'm going to put way too much time into, Like a Dragon Ishin, which, for those who don't know, this is a Yakuza series spinoff. Well, first off, for those who don't know, the Yakuza series in Japan is called Like a Dragon, I believe, from the start. And it was called Yakuza International. The
I
most
think you're
recent,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
the most recent mainline Yakuza subtitle was Dragon. Therefore, it was a Resident Evil Biohazard situation, where it was the Western name and the English name, or the Western and the Eastern name. And so it would have been very funny to see Seven over in Japan, because it would have been like a dragon, or it might have just been like. Then they have had, I believe, there's two different spin-off series, spin-off games that have Yakuza characters in them. There's Ishin, and then there's one that's like a zombie shooting hall. That one's really. But Ishin is like a full-blown Yakuza level game, but it's the models of the characters, it's the voice actors of the characters, but it's set in like 1870, so it's kind of the samurai. And the characters have different names, so it's not like your Cosmic Hero. So, yeah, it's, it's one of those games where having played the previous, the only thing I haven't played is Judgment series. So that's part of the Yakuza family. Judgment or Lost Judgment. And this is the first time interacting with Ishin. I knew about it, but I hadn't played because it was possible to get. So, yeah, I mean, it's your typical Yakuza running in 18,000 side quests in every area, and you end up doing menial tasks forever. But it also has, it has karaoke apparently. It has fishing mini games. It has all the different mini effect from the series, just aged, really aged, set in the 70s. Yeah.
So would you say it's a good intro to see? Because Yakuza's always that weird one of like, I've never touched it, but it always feels like something that's, but it always seems like I'm like, where do you start on? Because there's stuff.
You start at 0. Like, just start at 0. You could then, excuse me, you could then go into the Kiwami stuff. So Kiwami 1, 2, 4, and 5 might be a little rough because those remakes haven't come out yet. And then 6 is the last of the kind of main Yakuza stuff. 7's got a new, and Ishin is a side story that has no ties whatsoever. I believe it was originally made in, because
I think you're right. I do remember hearing that.
It has the 4 different fighting styles, like Zero had. So, like if you wanted to interact with Ishin, I would say play 0 so you can understand the characters and kind of like the relationships between characters, because Ishin carries over all of those like character relationships like that.
What do you mean it carries it over?
In the sense of like, if in the normal timeline, Kiryu is kind of a uneasy ally to a certain character, it's the same relationship in Ishin, like the character model, whatever their name. They're uneasy allies. So, and 0 introduces all of those relationships. So, I would say if you wanted to try out Ishin, you could. Honestly, you could jump into Ishin without having any Yakuza experience. It would just feel kind of weird. Because
I can imagine. It does seem like one of those would be a very weird.
Because you'd be like, oh, they're referencing something, but, and I feel like I should know this, but I don't.
Interesting. But it sounds like you are enjoying your time so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Yakuza. Like, it's a solid 7.5.
Okay.
But there's never been a Yakuza game that's a.
Yeah, to say these games aren't. They don't seem like games to me that are made to. It's funny. I don't think made to be tens, but like it seems like a very much like, oh no, you know what you're getting at least conceptually type game.
I think like just mainline Yakuza, they're probably in the neighborhood of like an 8.5 overall. The zombie uh, side story is like a 2 because it works, but it's horrendous. And Ishin appears to be trending towards that 7.5. Like, it's good, but it's gonna blow you.
Okay. No, that's very, I'd say very interesting and good to know. Is there any that's kind of looks like all on your list for what you've been kind of poking at last month?
Yeah, more or less.
Nice. Just get started. I think I need to shout out Atomic Heart. We've put I don't know half a dozen 10 hours in somewhere in there. I think it's
Horny
really
robot
neat.
game, right?
Yes, that one. So I really do think the game is like really neat, and I think there's some really cool like mechanics and components in it. I think to me, what's interesting is the like the online Discord of like being like, this is the worst writing ever, and I'm like, it really isn't. Like games don't a lot of times have a lot of ratings, you know. But the thing I also though I want to do shout out about this game is I think its setting's really cool. This like the Soviet, but like the Soviets winning type setting. Like it's very much like the reason I like Wolfenstein or these other like very different games is the reason I think I'm really into this game right now. Because
Yeah,
like
alternative history stuff.
yes, it's very alternative history and I think that's really cool and I'm glad kind of it exists because like let's be honest, on paper this is the type of game that no one would expect us to get. Like nothing about this game looks you're like, ah, we'd get one of these. Um
At
so I
least
think that's
now,
very
because
yeah.
everything that I've seen is like this is straight out of the era of Stalker, Metro, like these really just wacky. Wacky's not the right word, but you know what I mean. Like alternative history, but it's kind of taking itself seriously. Where like Wolfenstein doesn't.
I mean, the Wolfenstein, I think internally does take itself seriously. I think it's more that it's like to in the world, it's Wolfenstein's a serious game. It's
Oh
more the
yeah,
like we look
yeah.
at it's chaotic.
In world, Wolfenstein takes itself seriously, setting itself,
Hmm.
but the game doesn't take.
Okay, no, that's if you yeah. Now I understand what you're saying. Yeah, no, I agree. That I think this is a very similar. Also, it's interesting because this game is 100% like a like oh, this is like what it was like playing games on like PS3 or 360 type. Like it's a linear. You're in corridors. You're doing these very specific things. But at the same time, I'm kind of enjoying that. Kind of like it's the games we grew up with a lot of times, or kind of like we get into that age, and I do miss those type of games. And I think it's something nice of like not dealing with this as you're dealing with like Hogwarts. Of like it's an open world. You have 10,000 things. This game is like go to point B, figure out how to get to point B, fight your way through it. Okay, and like it's kind of nice to kind of be like just go through this experience, see this world, and not have to deal with the 10,000 things. I feel like every game's kind of throwing at us at once.
Yeah. Quick question: does this game lean
Hmm.
into the?
So yes, but no. So what it is there's the sex robots everyone's seen online, or there's this very horny upgrade machine that basically is like a vending machine you go through and it upgrades either your powers or your weapons or whatever. And this machine wants to fuck. I'm just telling you, this machine actively wants to. Uh, and it's funny because the character actively does not. So it's a very interesting combo of them. But yeah, that's again, it's cringy. I'm not saying it's amazing sometimes in the dialogue stuff, but like
Yeah.
you can handle some cringe. I
Do
think
you,
it's a good time.
do you think this is at least the biggest release that is fully embraced? They know the Rule 34 stuff is just going to be out the wazoo game.
Hear me out. I think this is the first non-Japanese game to do it.
They're fully accepting of. Even Japanese games. It's a weird relationship there. Like, yes, they make you know anime girls, but then the sub story behind it is they're like 1,000 years old. It's not as weird.
Hmm.
Whereas this is like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna release a trailer of them just like that wasn't a trailer. TikTok, something like that, of these two horny robots just like working full on, like, hey, we know this is gonna happen, so we're just getting decent it ourselves. I genuinely can't think of another large scale as just lean.
No, I'm trying to think if there is any that I don't know if there is. Also, I also think it's interesting too because for we don't know, a lot of the team, or I think the company technically is based out of Russia, or at least has ties to the Russian government. So it's this weird, interesting thing in the era we're in of like, oh yeah, there's some questionable finances on the back end. I'm genuinely curious how it got around some current embargoes that kind of exist in the Western world.
Yeah, that's an interesting. It's a very sticky situation.
Right.
It's almost a damned if you do sort of thing. Like, you don't want to see a creator fail, but to support the creator, you have to support.
At least questionable. I'm by all accounts, there's at least questionable finances. We don't technically know for a fact they're tied to some stuff, but like it very much the way people are seeing where the money trail goes, it seems like they are like it's this weird like
Well, let's be real.
indirect thing.
Any company based in the Russian Federation funds the Russian government, right? Like,
Hmm.
you don't have to look for the pipeline. It exists. Everyone knows it exists. And
It's
it's not just
curious to
like,
me how this.
yeah, it's not just tax level stuff. It's like, oh no, they are, that government just like skims 10% off the, like, oh, all right, I guess we didn't do that well this year. I could,
Wow. So we're moving.
fuck.
Okay.
The only place this show would move is Morocco.
Just you want to move there just like 2 weeks of the year though, just for the race.
Morocco? No, Morocco doesn't have a race. That's Monaco.
Oh, Monaco, I was saying, yeah.
Um,
Why Morocco?
why Morocco? Because they have mountains, so I can snowboard in the winter.
You go skiing?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
You're an hour's flight from Madrid, depending on where we are in Morocco. So you're close to Europe, but you're in Africa, so everything's legal. Or everyone can be bribed, I should.
Of course.
So we would just have like the ultimate studio that's like, oh hey, there's a nice hotel in Marrakesh. Yeah, the top 3 floors are some podcast studio. Eh, and we just see guys in VR helmets running around looking like they're humping everything. Speaking of that, just very quickly, have you seen the video of the guy that, I don't know if it's at like AVN or something, where it's like it's clearly like a VR porn simulation,
Oh God, no, I have seen that. Where like,
and the guy's like clearly feeling it up, feeling the avatar up, and then he stands up and like he starts to take his pants down before somebody tackles him off stage. Other than the fact that he was ready to risk it all right then, how jarring must that have been for him when he's like, I'm about to get my dick out and like stroke it, and all of a sudden some dude just tackles him.
right?
Like, getting pulled out of VR for a normal reason is a little like kind of messes with your stomach at times.
Mhm.
To then be tackled out of and rough.
Right?
Speaking of rough, I'm gonna skip over.
That's fine.
Very unfortunate circumstances have led to the question of Rumble, which you and I have the past couple weeks. is this? I was talking about this on final stream that we. Is this Iron Galaxy's biggest failure?
I think it has to be, right. And we talked about
It's
this.
the biggest scale thing they've worked on that has failed.
It's the biggest scale internal thing they've worked on. I think if we're being like, I want to be objective, right? So it's the biggest scale internal thing they've worked on because they've worked on like external projects between what we do and don't know that I'm assuming cost more money if I'm being objective.
Well, but those things didn't necessarily fail. And like,
Sure, but I don't know if they all were hit. I guess yeah, because
it was usually a port of a
and
franchise.
even their questionable ports, we could point to stuff like they ported to insane devices, right? Like their most questionable port is the Borderlands 2, probably to Vita, but like think about the words I just said out loud and when we're talking about, like I think they get somewhat of a pass on it, if I'm being honest. Where like the Skyrim port for Switch apparently works amazingly. So like I think we all universally point to them and be like, no matter what, they have amazing internal programmers.
Yeah,
Like that's the worst you'd say about Iron Galaxy.
Like Racketeer failed, but that's kind of because the Kinect failed.
Like stuff like the device failed. I don't know if I blame on them. I don't. To be fair, I don't know if I blame on them per se, but like those, at least I could point to hard reasons why it failed that was out of their control.
Yeah, like having the device that you made a game for fail isn't. Iron Galaxy didn't cause the Kinect.
Right, I hate the big difference. Connected 10,000 other reasons it's questionable.
Probably their biggest success that their name is AI. And even that doesn't exist. But that's more to do with that genre kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Sad to see, but as we all know, boy Joseph J. Brony will be out there slugging beers and slapping rears and end up with something.
Mm-hmm. Be curious, kind of when their next internal thing is, or what's like what would be the problem? What will be the next thing?
Set them back
Monetarily?
Well, no, I was gonna say set them back in that kind of calendar of, hey, we had Rumbleverse, we were planning on supporting it for 2 years, and then we would working on our next thing. The fact that it failed in less than 6 months, does that screw? I mean, obviously, it's up, but they now have a void of potentially 18 months that they need to fill. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what their next project is that's labeled an Iron Galaxy game.
External, yeah. No, I do agree. I'm curious on that too. I don't know. Like
they must be very successful with their port stuff because dude, their senior staff is like who late 90s, early 2000s. I mean,
also like their staff is half of the Sony executives from the mid 2000s.
Exactly. Like you have Gio Corsi, you have Adam Boyes, like John Vignaci's there now, I believe.
No, he's at Disney.
Oh, because he failed. Remember?
No, but I thought because there was a Disney team.
Or is he
currently
at Nintendo now?
Yeah, maybe that's it. That's
God,
it.
I have to
He's at
pull
Nintendo.
up Twitter now and John. Dear God.
I was about to Google and I was like, nope.
Then hockey. That's not how you spell it, but I believe it's just fail. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with it.
The point is, I think kind of what we were saying is like, yeah, Iron Galaxy is interesting from their team is a their at least their management team is a very wild and successful like team.
No, that's Joan. John. Oh, there's a G in there. That's what was thrown. Former Disney VP, now exploring the Mushroom Kingdom.
That's what it is. Okay, yeah, yeah. I was thinking because
He's from
God, what's his
Japan
face
now.
is at what's his face that is at Disney? Who am I thinking of? That's the Disney EVP. Who's Andrew husband?
Andrea, right? Oh, God, I
You
can
know what I'm
see
thinking of.
his. Yeah,
Yeah.
he got the shit beat out of him by Dan Reichert
Yes,
in Punch Out.
yes, yes.
Uh, um, John
You know
Drake.
who I'm talking about? Yes, that's who I was thinking of when I said that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
know it's
yeah.
another John, but I can't think of his last name.
This, you see my confusion, right? That's why I'm like,
Yeah,
oh wait, no, no, not him.
John T. Drake. Yep. So sad to see the game go. Uh, I feel like it was inevitable playing that game.
Again, rule of thumb: if we like a game, it's going away.
Yeah. So don't get into Control Alt Ego. Uh, don't get into the Like a Dragon series, and don't play Fallout New Vegas.
Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, no,
So
we want the franchises to last, right? So we're saying just don't get into games that you like.
we'll be good.
And
Um, so yeah, so New Vegas, I was playing on Steam Deck. I just wanted to point out it runs really nicely if you want to get back into it. There's New Vegas hiccups, but it's New Vegas. Like it runs that you'd expect it to run on a PC kind of stuff. So,
yeah,
Control Ego. Are you familiar with this game at all, AJ?
not until you told me about it the other night.
So, it is an exploration game, kind of in the vein of like, kind of like think of like the old Thiever stuff from a level design point of view. You control this sentient being that starts in a robot, but like the twist in it is that I could basically jump between any sort of camera or other robots in there and just they become my body. And then I'm trying to obviously go towards like a goal or whatever. It's I think very interesting mechanically. I
Is
think it appears very go on.
is the mechanic of transmitting similar to the Driver San Francisco stuff?
Yes. Kind of similar to that. I think it's a very cool mechanic, and I think it's a cool twist that you don't always see executed well. I think there's also problems with it of uh I think the controls are very finicky and like there's a on PC it's like you hold like it's control alt and you get like a wheel up to like jump between your different equipment. And you would expect like your mouse to appear, right? And something. No, it kind of functions as it would on a control pad, but instead I'm on a trackpad, so I have to like kind of angle up or to the side or whatever to get through stuff. I think there's kind of rough edges either. I also think some of the puzzles are a little not super intuitive, but at the same time I wanted to shout out because I obviously play the night, and then I also think it's kind of this cool mechanic, and I would be kind of interested to see if other people kind of play with this mechanic in modern times, kind of what pops out. But Steam on Steam, I think it's literally like $15. Like, it's not super expensive.
Yeah. Can I just say, because this game uses this term, and you know I absolutely hate it because it's the wrong term. Like, the term is fine, but it's used for the wrong thing. This game calls itself an immersive sim. You know the
I
beef that I
think
have with that term.
but at least the term sets the grounding, kind of like what you're doing in some way.
It doesn't, though.
It sets it in a sense of mechanics. In the same way I say first person shooter. It can mean 10,000 things, but I have a broad idea of what's going on.
But if you walked up to a person on the street, like if we did a Billy on the street, right? We went downtown Chicago, and we asked someone, hey, name a first person shooter. everyone's gonna say Call of Duty, right? Like people know what that is. If we then ask them, "Hey, can you name an immersive sim?" They're gonna be like, "I'm sorry, what'd you say?"
Yeah, but that would, to me, if I said someone else, she'd say name an RTS, they'd probably give me the same blank stare because we don't know what RTSs are.
I feel like there was an era where you would get people that would say like StarCraft.
It's an era for immersive sims. It's just the late 90s, so it's gone now.
Yeah, but that RTS era of the late '90s was way bigger. So
Sure, but the immersive sim era, like, was way bigger than it is now, right? Because now, like, immersive sims, you get them, like, every few years if you're lucky of any note.
yeah. Speaking of things of note, you saw Ant-Man.
You gonna call this of note?
Well, at least the franchise that it's tied to of note.
Hmm. I saw it. I'm trying to think of the big stuff to kind of talk about it. So obviously, I think it's fair to say it's not getting the hottest of reviews, both critically and audience wise. I think there's validity to that. I also think it might get a little too harsh. I think the pros are, I think Paul Rudd's really good. I think the script as a whole, I actually think is good. I just don't think the script's executed well. Like, I think there's a failure of CG and design decisions versus like writing and acting, if that makes sense. Like, we just said like, hey, let's us sit down and re-edit this film and like fix a bunch of the CD like Modoc and a bunch of this really weirdy stuff. I actually think you don't need to rewrite the whole film, but I think the CG and this stuff kind of really brings it down massively, and it makes it this thing that's way rougher to watch. And like, unless you're really into the MCU, and even then, I think it makes really questionable like why does stuff look this way? Like, if anyone's curious, just Google Modoc, and you'll understand entirely why. I want to know who anywhere in the editing suite was like, this is the final look. This is the look we're going for, because not a look anyone should be choosing to choose.
From the sounds of it, there was no one in that editing room. Because they were all working on Black Panther.
Yeah, which I think is which makes Black Panther. I think there's some good CGI, but there's definitely some questionable moments too. I think we both kind of saw on that too.
Yeah.
So like, it's very interesting to me. Like, this very much got the B team and it shows, but like the A team still had problems. Like, Marvel, maybe just drop down back to like one or two projects a year. I think we saw that sweet spot where like, hey, they were able to keep up with stuff and editing houses were able to keep up. Where now they're doing their like 7 projects a year, and mystically editors can't keep up.
Yeah, who knew?
Who knew?
The other thing that people may not have known, that a nearly 200-pound bear could eat 5 keys of coke and be the most apex predator on the planet for 10 minutes?
Yes. So so on Tuesday night, me and a few of my friends went to go see the movie. I swear to God, everyone should be talking about, who isn't. Cocaine Bear.
How sober were you when you saw this?
Sober as a tea?
As a tea?
Sober. I was sober.
I just want to ask
it's why was I sober? Why did I see it?
No, I know why you saw it. Why were you sober when you
I drove. I don't know.
Uber, baby? Well, okay, no, never mind. Uber from that theater to your house would be...
Do you realize like $30 each way? Uber.
I mean, hey,
I don't know if it's
get 3 people in that Uber, $20 a piece.
Seems expensive. The movie ticket was $8, okay?
It does, but you guys can get plastered for it.
I want to generally tell people, this is my honest recommendation. If you want to have a good time, go see this film. Like, it is, whatever you're picturing in your head for this film, it's more batshit crazy.
I will say, in regards to this story, I think I had gotten like Mandela affected because I could have sworn it took place in California. Like I could have sworn that this bear was like in the hills around Sacramento, in the mountains. No, it's in Georgia.
Hmm. But no, I 100% actually recommend this film. I think it's dumb. I think you're gonna. I'm not saying it's gonna be like the smartest of your head, but it is better than you thought. I'm just gonna tell one that don't worry, the deaths are more gruesome than you can physically imagine. It's like when you think of like Final Destination or those type of deaths, you're gonna see some good time in this film.
I mean, also, what if you're going into a movie called Cocaine Bear thinking it's going to be an Oscar nominee for Best Picture? You need to get your head out of here.
If this wins any Oscar, I will lose my shit. Actually, no, screw it. If this was any Oscar, the Oscars have more credibility this year than they would the last how many years?
Oh yeah, this should win like Best Supporting Actor, The Coked Up Bear.
Like the bear itself.
Yeah, they're too pussy to do.
But yeah, what do you have here? What do we have? Do you have any here we want to discuss before we jump into
Um,
the news?
I saw Takers, which I don't know where it falls in the timeline of when he's alive, but this is one of Paul Walker's like, side projects that he did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's later. It's probably like the third or fourth Fast and Furious era. But it is.
Mm.
It's also got Hayden Christensen in it as an
Really?
adult. Yeah. And T.I. and Chris Brown, two rappers who are both known for beating the shit out of women.
Well,
So do with that as you may. It's got Idris Elba in it as well. And it's an okay heist movie. Not great. I mean, it's not in the rotation of heist. I've got a rotation of like first three ocean movies. Um, trying to remember, I updated recently. I've thrown in if I really just want to watch a scene, I'll watch the open. Right? But yeah, this isn't going to make it into the.
damn.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to watch a movie with Paul Walker and Hayden Christensen in it, yeah, they're both in Takers. So
Good to know, I guess.
you and I
Okay,
are both
perfect.
coming back from vacations.
This is just true. That's true. I went to the west, you went to the east.
Yeah, Tropical Island. I went to Green Mountain. I went to a
So
kingdom.
I went to a former kingdom.
Yeah, that's true. So you went to
So
Hawaii.
yeah.
Had a good time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of swimming, a lot of food.
Did the Hawaii thing.
Mm-hmm. And
Did you get
you
laid
went.
with your lay on a bed of lays?
We didn't. We got to the hotel late and they were out of them.
Just have to make
Upsetting.
up for it later.
Damn right. But yeah. And then you have here the most upsetting trade of all time.
Okay, so I put this in here purely because you and I should both be extremely pissed off today. Well, yours yesterday, mine today as we're recording this.
People who don't know, Patrick Kane is no longer a Black Hawk.
Patrick
And for
Kane,
that alone,
the man who at a podium screamed out "Fuck yeah, Chicago" after they won the cup. like was kind of the face of the Hawks, right?
Him and Tate, yeah. I
Taves
think Kane probably more.
and
Yeah, I think
Cave.
Kane probably the most. Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, no, he's at least the face or like one of the faces.
yeah,
Like
of the modern kind of. He's wait a second. He's probably the face of. Well, he was the face of the Hawks during kind of the dynastic era in the NHL, like the early to mid thousands,
mhm.
where like four teams won the cup because they were just going back to backs, and then somebody else would win back to back, and it was just like a repeat of like 4 or 5 teams. Yeah, he won one or two. You guys won
Kane,
three.
I think it's three.
You guys won three.
And yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
Isn't it 20? You're gonna make me guess. I thought it's like 2015, 2012, and like 20 something else.
Yeah, he won 3 cups
Blackhawks.
with the Hawks, and
Let me
then
see. I got it. It was three. I said the years wrong. It's 2015, 2013, 2010. And Kane's been since like '05, I think, or '06.
yeah, he
He's been a
was.
Hawk forever. And then perspective, the Stanley Cup before that they won was 1961.
Yeah.
It was a 50-year drought almost.
Okay.
And the Hawks didn't really get bad until like, and even bad's quotes, but they didn't get to like an average team until like 2018, 2019. Like they were good for a decade. They were really good for a decade.
They were a team that I, as a Red Wings fan, hated seeing.
You just knew that like
They were
their bad
consistent,
days were
like,
still good.
okay, well, you got to play like top tier hockey. Speaking of the Wings, they traded away kind of the heart of the modern Wings, Tyler Bertuzzi. Like, I get it, his contract was up. He had already kind of said he wasn't going to come back. So at least you got something for him. I just find it hilarious that they trade him to Boston. A team he has no problem fighting. Like, Tyler Bertuzzi is the ultimate shit stirrer. Even up there with the Brad Marchand. So the fact that you now someone has to deal with Marchand and Bertuzzi play the Bruins. God help you. There's gonna be a fight. But on a light side for the signed our captain for another 8.
Fuck yourself.
Larkin.
But yeah, that's gonna start.
Don't worry,
Let's jump in.
The Wings aren't doing much better than the Hawks. You and I get to drink our sorrows away because hockey team.
I'm gonna go to a Hawks game some point late this year or like early next year and just be sad.
You should
I go to like 2 games a year usually, maybe 3, somewhere in that range. That's usually my like Hawks game number. It's like a good healthy number to me. It's like Cub games. Like try to go to like 2 or 3.
You should just find all the thrift store Kane jerseys that are going to be popping up.
I have a Kane jersey.
I know. Although I will say, Chicago fans and Detroit fans are really weird in the sense that even if a player leaves, they'll continue to wear that jersey.
Oh, just walk into any Cubs. Just walk to any Cubs game. You'll see. You'll see.
But it just seems like it's like those two cities are just the ones that.
What weird it is, it's in our divisions. Our teams are 85% either the worst or second worst teams. But then we have those great years that we will never forget. But we have to work towards those years.
Well, the thing with Chicago and Detroit, right? Like, there's people alive today that experienced the dynastic eras of those cities.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like the not back to back, but the three-peats with Jordan. The Wings made the playoffs for like 25 straight years and won 5 or 6 cups in that. The Pistons beat the goddamn Lakers when Shaquille fucking O'Neal was playing with Kobe. And the Tigers were halfway decent.
Why are you thinking the Pistons even? Like, when you talk about, like, the Jordan rivals, the Pistons were listed always as, like, the thing that gave the Bulls trouble. Like,
yeah, I was like, if whoever won that series, Bulls Pistons, was probably going to win the title. And yeah, hell, I'd still rock a Pistons Rodman jersey, even though he's probably more known as a Bull now.
The Bulls. Like, that's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman was both.
Like, I'd show up to a Tigers game wearing like a JD Martinez. Prince Fielder's a weird one because it was so emotional seeing, and the way his career ended was, and he has a tie to the city because his dad. Sports.
Sports talk.
Believe it or not, Mike and I both huge sports.
On the team. Like football, my eyes glaze over. Even basketball, like besides, like as a whole, I don't. Yeah. It's for me, it's like baseball and hockey are like the things that I care about.
Baseball games are getting faster.
As long as they fucking fix that pitch clock by the time the season comes.
What do you mean?
Did you not watch the preseason pitch clock nonsense? There was a game the other day where, because they have the new rules about the clock on it.
Yeah.
And it's an auto hit otherwise. And it was like it led to an auto score and shit. Like, the way I heard baseball described was really good. Is baseball is ran by people who don't like baseball.
I will say the pitch clock stuff is great. Partially because I've been going to games with the pitch clock now for like 5 years at the minor level. And it does help speed things along. And obviously, it's spring training right now as we record. The players will figure this shit out by the time.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's going to be as chaotic when the season starts, but I'm just hoping that, like, because, like, what was it? Was it like 05, 06 was the season where, like, they just let each team get, like, a free run or whatever, like, during the preseason? Like, they do weird shit during preseasons.
Yeah, during spring training, it gets a little long. Also, the fact that baseball games were over 3 hours and 15, and playoff games were approaching 5 hours. Like, if the pitch clock stuff shortens the game to like 2.5 hours, and that continues through into the post, that games are 2.5 hours. Well, that'd be so nice.
Even it's 2.5. Even if you want to throw some commercial nonsense in there, it gets to 2:45. Like,
yeah,
that's way cleaner. Like,
somebody was saying, like, if you just shaved 20 minutes off every game, it's 56 hours over a season that you save. You save 2.5 days worth of time by having a pitch clock. That'd be so
beautiful.
Nice. Things that aren't nice. I Am Legend.
No. Can we call it like I Am Also Legend? Or can it be I Am Legend TOO? People don't know. I Am Legend 2 is happening. It stars Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan, and it follows the director's ending he wanted, and it's the original ending from the book for the first film.
Can we just call this? I mean, I know they obviously adapted it for screen. We should quit calling this alternate ending, and just like, it follows book ending.
Yeah, like I think, but my problem is still you have to explain this to an audience.
Well, and the thing that you should do, and something that I suggested to you when we saw the story come up, just stealth edit film on streaming so that it has
an ending, and then you re-release it like on as many stream servers you can, and just like put it into pop culture, just like let it be for a hot minute.
Yeah. Because I guarantee
Yeah.
you, people will not have remembered the theatrical.
Maybe, though. Spoilers for this, by the way. They totally remember him pulling the grenade. Like, there was no way.
Maybe. I'll be honest to you, the only thing I remember from that film is the Batman vs Superman Xbox 720 billboard.
God, about the BBS suit. It's
I don't think we've ever had a story where I just don't care.
is
One
this the
way or
next
the
one, or is...
other. No, like the I Am Legend 2. I just do not care.
No, I'll be curious, kind of, like, if they can make it good. Like, I think I Am Legend isn't an amazing film, but I think it's a very good film.
Unless we make I Am Legend 2 a movie club, I guarantee you I won't see it.
Well, and
Just,
depending what comes out, though, it might be...
yeah,
There are some months where it'd be what we choose.
unfortunately.
The next news story that I think it's whatever is that we said I thought was worth shouting out is that AEW announced their new uh, unscripted series. It is going to be all access, uh, and it basically just what you can expect, like from Divas or whatever the other WWE shows are. It's a not reality show; it's a reality show of AEW wrestlers. Do you do you have any like other thoughts? I think it's interesting. It's that it's going to be set after Dynamite. I think that's an interesting thing to me. But otherwise, I don't know if you have any other thoughts kind of on that kind of. And I'm also curious, kind of, who do you want to see that you wouldn't, but we don't always get to see, kind of as personalities.
I mean, the one that I'm excited to watch is Eddie Kingston, especially with the recent developments storyline that's going to. I I want to see like I want to watch them follow like a Kenny Omega for just maybe touch in on him. Like he doesn't have to be a main character, right? But because that guy travels all over the world.
Well, now here's the actual question: at what point does this crossover with being the elite?
So the interesting thing is, right? Like the Bucks are listed as talent that they're going to have followed. Do they do something with being the elite?
Interesting. Like you just find
The
a way to
sense
be
of
like advertising for both.
well, yeah, in the sense of like, is being the elite now behind the scenes of all?
Might be interesting.
Maybe something a little more like that, or they keep the scripted aspect of being the elite, and all access is quote unquote unscripted. Look at, oh well, we're shooting a being the elite thing, and I feel like this might be easier for people to swallow than the WWE shows because it just feels like AEW fans are more smarky than WWE.
Mm-hmm.
They keep up on. They're more likely to keep up on dirt sheets,
Right.
wrestling, Twitter, and things like
I heard it really described really well to me is you have two types of wrestling fans. You have WWE fans and wrestling fans.
that. Yeah,
Like just the nature of like how big they are and stuff.
yeah. I mean, you could show an AEW fan New Japan,
Mm.
and they would like it. Try to show New Japan to a WWE, and they would be lost.
Yeah. And again, wrestling they can't be both, but like there very much is when you say you're one or the other, you're like, oh no, I get it. Like you kind of know what that means.
Yeah, you could be a wrestling fan and be a WWE, especially now with the Roman Sammy stuff. I have seen
Yeah, actually,
more than a few on Twitter being like, I haven't been this invested in wrestling since.
they actually made Roman Reigns interesting, which I think we're in similar boats of we haven't thought he's interesting for a hot minute.
Well, and the sad part is, right, like, he's such an easy character to make interesting. The dude survived leukemia like twice. Just lean into that angle. Like, the guy's fought for his life several times. So why should you be? Why should he have a problem with Brock Lesnar? Right, like, make that your promo. Not, I'm the head of the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then just have Brock whip his ass because it's Brock fucking Lesnar.
Mm-hmm. They don't.
That would be the one guy I would love to see in a, like, Tony Khan just back the Brinks truck up to the farm in Alberta. Go, Brock, I need you for one show. One show. Here's $20 million. Taking on Wardlow.
Yes.
Lesnar, Wardlow, because they've both worked in Japan,
You need someone big enough.
and Lesnar in Japan is scary. If you ever get a chance, find his stuff from Japan when he worked at New. Is scary. How just athletic that guy is. And I guarantee you, still to this day, you could do most. Just, and I feel like they could work a great pro if you wanted to go just a full.
Be good. Be good. Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of, let's be honest, this trailer I'm about to talk about is the closest thing we get to wrestling in movies. Like culturally speaking,
Oh,
we're here to talk about Fast X.
actually,
the
both
trailer.
of these trailers.
This is actually pretty fair. Fair.
What one of these is like weekly wrestling. One of these is like the Royal Rumble.
This is true. So Fast X trailer. So it's the trailer they released during Super Bowl. The full one's online if you want to see it. I got a thing that immediately I want to talk about. Is there body switching in this film?
You don't want to know the answer.
It's at the end with Michelle Rodriguez and Brie Larson, and it seems like they're body switching, right?
You don't want to know the answer to that. It'll be told to us, right? Like, there's going to be a trailer 3 weeks out from its release.
And then just show what happened.
And it's going to be like, oh, we got to hook this helmet onto Michelle Rodriguez. And then her consciousness. And it's going to be bullshit. As always. So.
It's like, hear me out. It always does wacky signs, right? Because this is just Fast and Furious. It's the first time we got to this level of, like, chaos.
I mean, even the first 3 were fairly grounded.
And then it all
4
turned
was a
into
little wacky because they had the when they were stealing the gas tank. Like, the one barrels down the canyon and they just sneak under it. It just got wackier from there.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, 4 was Mexico. Fuck. It'll be weird. Did they kill anyone off? Like, obviously, they've said this is the end of the saga.
I thought there was one more movie, isn't it? This is the beginning of the end of the saga. Was the exact quote.
Sorry. They kill someone off in this, right?
100%. I don't know who, though.
Maybe they killed Jacob off. They killed John Cena.
Well, that makes the most sense. I don't see any of the main people being. That to me is why I say that.
Yeah, I could see.
Like the last movie, I can see people see, but I can also see no one dying because of their family.
Well, it just feels like there needs to be something for 11, right? Like some emotional thing for 11. And it just feels right that you'd kill someone off in that. What do I know? I'll tell you something I definitely don't know.
Huh?
Why this Flash movie's coming out.
But hear me out. The trailer looks good.
The trailer looks like the DC Royal Rumble.
The trailer looks good. Like, when I said the word Flash profile, the trailer is what the trailer has no business looking this good. And like the Supergirl, we saw Keaton, and like we all scared we wouldn't see Keaton because of all the stuff and what happened. There was strong rumors on Bale or another Batman showing up. Like, I don't know if this is going to be good, but the trailer gives me hope, and you have to at least give it. And Hima, the other thing I'm interested by genuinely is so we're not going to talk about James Gunn's running the whole DCU. We're not talking about the context, but when Gunn released like his grand video, right? He talked about how like Shazam and Aquaman are coming out, but he didn't seem excited about them. He made a point of saying that he really likes this film, and I'm very curious on him staking his credibility on saying this film was good. Right? When this is something interesting, when like he didn't say bad things about Shim and Aquaman, but he didn't say anything good about them either. He just kind of said
Yeah.
they exist. With this one, he made a point of being like, and this film is great. And like, if this comes out as a stinker, no, everyone just loses faith in Gunn at that point.
But if Guardians 3 comes out, is fine to good, right? And
Guardians 3 is as good as Guardians 1 and 2, I think is the baseline. I think it's kind of what people want.
and Aquaman and Shazam are not
I
horrible.
keep forgetting those exist. I'm going to be honest with you. Shazam,
Like,
I see it appear once in a while.
A world where Aquaman isn't that good because they've had to do so much work post the Amber Heard.
Yeah.
But also, like, you can't really put those movies on him because they were already in production.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to me, though, him making a point of, like, saying that.
Well, was that positive? Was that a positive PR spin because of all the Ezra Miller stuff? Right, like
Could be, too.
saying, Flashpoint's great to get people to want to see it because otherwise they Google Flash, see Ezra Miller, and all the stuff that they're tied to. Stuff. Oh, no, I'm good. I could see that too.
That's fair. Yeah, that is it we have for the film stuff, and it's time to jump into some game news. The first one we got hot off the presses from literally this week. IO Interactive announced they're working on a fantasy game, basically a live service fantasy game. That's kind of all we know about it. I'm interested too because I'm assuming at this point that means we're done with Hitman for a while. We know in the background that they're working on the James Bond game, so like this is massively.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing in their thing says like definitively done with Hitman.
Sure, but I'm just assuming because
Yeah. They're building a new world, a new IP, an online fantasy RPG.
So you know they're just announcing this solely for like recruiting people.
Oh yeah, I mean
Like you don't
there's literally like the first link after the story is visit IOI.
like that's why you make these type of announcements. It's totally a recruiting thing. But I just think it's interesting because I think we both tend to have the same agreement of they're really high quality studio, but it's all been in the context of Hitman for a long time. And like James Bond to Hitman to me isn't a big jump. This is a bigger jump, so I'm very curious kind of how their tools work, how their engines work, kind of even their teams built around that like very specific type of gameplay. So how does that kind of bleed in with like what we picture in a fantasy game?
Yeah. This is
Oh
very
yeah,
interesting though,
oh,
because like all the positions they have are lead, senior, lead.
which which you because you probably start with you probably have a design director at this point is my guess,
Well,
and maybe
so they
some
have
small amount of.
here's the weird thing, right? They have animation, art, production, design, and tech. Like they have people listed that
Hmm.
are apparently heading up
All right, those are
those.
probably the respective department heads, is my
Yeah.
guess.
So I'm like, this is like a full ground up. This is a brand new team.
I mean, I don't expect to hear anything legitimately from this for like a couple years. So it's interesting to me how they call it tech and not programming.
Is that a
It might be a weird like us as Americans versus them as
well? I mean, clicking on it, it says programming
right. But I just thought it was
Marcos
interesting. They said
Clement.
the tech part I thought was interesting, but that was just like a little like could be a verbiage difference.
Well, on the YouTube uh, video is Project Fantasy, Meet the Team, Programming. So yeah, it's probably just a Euro.
Hmm. But yeah. Next story we got is Call of Duty. Jason Schreier is reporting. So it was originally announced last year that there would be no Call of Duty game this year. That has apparently changed, according to reporting that we have, where there will be a quote unquote new Call of Duty this year, in quotes. But
Well, the
it's
initial report was it would be a premium expansion.
right, which Call of Duty has not had for half a decade, 6 years. Um,
Longer than that.
trying to think when they got rid of like map packs and stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Those weren't premium expansions. Those were map packs that came every once or
So this is practically speaking then the first time Call of Duty's ever done something like this.
I'm
Um,
envisioning this as like Lightfall for
yeah, that's probably I'm assuming is a good comparison. So what's interesting here is right. So it is continuing the MW2 story and it's going to carry over MW2 content. Speaking before, as we talk about how do you explain to audiences, how do you explain to the Call of Duty audience how this functions within the package of MW2 is what I'm very curious about. And how does this affect Warzone? Does it affect Warzone 2? Like, like how did that all kind of wrap? Because again, it's not just oh we're making a thing. It's you have to explain this to people, and Call of Duty is one of those things that is a general audience thing.
yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they market this because how many people do you think bought Modern Warfare knowing that they wouldn't have to buy another base Call of Duty this year?
Mm-hmm. Right, no, you're totally right. Like if you think of it that way, like there for sure are people who are
Yeah,
like, oh
they
great,
were like,
this is gonna last me 2 years.
yeah, they're like, oh, it'll be $50, so it's probably another Warzone map, and maybe they had like zombies or something like that. Now it's like it's $70 and it's a story.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, I get that people care about Call of Duty stories, but this new Modern Warfare saga is a halfway decent story.
And it's also curious to me, like, the way to talk about this, is there campaign pieces? Is there not? Like, there's a lot of questions I think I have kind of.
Well, it's now a campaign.
Right.
So it's more Modern Warfare, led by Sledgehammer, supervised by straightforward. Um, this isn't just a small DLC being sold for 70. It's a full sized with campaign and slash. So yeah, it's definitely it's a step up from originally.
Mm-hmm. So
Kind of
I'll be
scary, like
curious. Yeah.
from the standpoint of no one really cares anymore. They're gonna get you for your $70 every year, but even though they announced initially, hey, we're gonna start this at 50. Like, at what point in time did they already know they were gonna charge $70?
I don't know. That's actually a good question.
Like, Schreier says, oh, it morphed into something bigger. So
See
what
that
did it
also
start
too,
out
though.
as? Like,
Right. We will see. But yeah, next stories, kind of stream changes. A studio that we don't talk about a ton here, but is I think a very instrumental studio and a long-standing studio in the industry. It has been announced that Jake Solomon is departing Praxis Entertainment, and Heather Hazen is named the new studio head. Kind of with this, kind of talk about how the next Civ game is in active development. And it's going to be interesting. It's actually going to be the first time since the first two Civs where there's the same creative director, two Civ games, kind of in the role for the whole project. So I think that's also kind of an interesting kind of things here too. Again, I like Civ. I don't know if AJ's a big fan, and Buzz, we don't really talk about Frax games a ton here. I just thought it was interesting because it's also such a long-standing studio, and also it's funny to me because Sid Meier just kind of still exists in the background of the studio.
yeah. Yeah, I
Fairness to
mean,
me at this point, Sid's like this
Civ is
big, like
Civ.
in the background. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I,
But no,
I,
I
I
just
put my 400 hours into Civ 5, so,
like the rest of the world.
yeah.
So, speaking of another thing of people leaving also is Tango Gameworks has announced the departure of Shinji Mikami, which considering he founded and is the CEO of it, and it's right after they released Hi-Fi Rush, which to surprising critical acclaim. I think it's very interesting, and I'm genuinely curious, kind of what he does next, right? Because obviously, like he's been here now for 12 years, and before that, it's a very famous name in Japanese game scene. Like, do you think kind of he goes and makes a new studio? Do you think this was just kind of he's ready to take a break? Kind of where do you think his head's at, kind of with this departure?
I mean, the thing of it is, right, like, don't see a ton of Japanese devs that leave and then go and start their own,
Hmm.
unless their studio was bought. He is
But this is
stepping
like
down from a well-founded studio,
right.
so I think he retires.
That or like he goes do his own thing in the background, whatever. But yeah, because it's interesting to me, yeah. Because think about it, like when his new studio was founded, it was a Bethesda studio. Like he founded that studio with Bethesda, and like
Yeah,
obviously Evil Within 2 is a little less so, but like he's made games that I would argue that are decently commercially successful, hit or miss, but like critically successful. And it's not like it sounds like anything's going to happen to Tango, so like it's kind of this interesting kind of conundrum there. And again, it's again unusual to me that he's leaving, but we will see. The final two stories here, these are more big conversation pieces. I linked AJ to kind of specific threads or tweets talking about. But first one kind of talking about here is this idea of AI in game creation. And and I I'm assuming AJ agrees with this, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm convinced that most people who are in this AI generation world don't actually understand how any of this stuff works. And they're just trying to pitch VCs and poor consumers because the thing I linked to was by this guy named John Lai on Twitter, who was talking about how if you just used AI for content creation, it would lower game quality, it would lower game cost massively. And I think to me that shows nicely a lack of understanding of how any of this works or any of these systems actually work. And like, sure, game content creation is a big problem from the time industry, but like,
Well,
it's not just the creation of the content, it's using it, it's placing it, it's making games fun. Like, I think there's a lot more kind of there. Also, most of these tools I think are smoke and mirrors versus actually useful
yeah.
at this point.
This John Lai guy was a project manager at Riot. He knows jack shit about AI in narrative. So, also, the person that started this thread, or the tweet that you linked me to, I brought this up when you linked it to me. The person has a PhD in AI for content generation in games, supposedly. Their Twitter bio says PhD in responsive narrative AI. Same thing, whatever. This thing's been around for like years, this technology, specifically in games. How do you already have a
Okay,
PhD?
Angeles. So I am genuinely curious, like, what her PhD's in. And it might be like you do a lot of custom-y, like, researchy PhDs too. So,
Yeah.
like, the thing is, I don't know if I'd fully question it, but that is a very interesting kind of point of like, hey, this tool has been around a bunch. Like, even if you are a PhD, what does that mean, right? In the context of this. But I also think, of my understanding of these tools and my understanding of the pipeline stuff, like, not saying there's going to be zero games where this stuff you're going to see AI and stuff because obviously in God, what was the game with Justin Roiland that just came out? High in Life. There was AI art in the like the art, some of the art in the game. But to me, that's like you're adding more stuff to a game than having an artist on it. That's not lowering the development time, right? Saying I could switch some backgrounds faster. Like that's not the same thing as like the pipeline problem or content creation problems you have in stuff like Cyberpunk or Witcher or Fallout or these massive games.
Yeah.
And
I just,
I
yeah.
think, and I think that's my problem. Whenever I see people being like, and this is like, I'm not like, I think there are points in these tools where it will change the way some things are done and it'll get rid of some trivial tasks. But like, even most art creation isn't like I'm doing 10,000 variations of a tree. We're past that point. It's I need to sit down and create the design spec, figure out how the art's going to all look, how it's going to all work together. And I've not seen any tools out there that are able to handle that type of problem. It's always been like here's 50 variations of this thing, and they don't always go together. And that's part of the problem too, is that people aren't discussing in this.
Well, and also, about it this way, they've already ruled that AI art can't be.
Hmm?
So there's a precedent set for that. So I'm just going to assume that AI text generation isn't going to be copyrighted either. So what's to stop someone just ripping an AI generated story? Because there's no copyright to that story.
Hmm.
There can't be. Courts have ruled that there's no copyright.
I'm curious kind of as this evolves too, but yeah, there was a current case that said that there was limitations on the copyright for, I think this specific context was like in relation to like a book with AI art. But yeah,
Yeah,
the statement stands like that's gonna be a precedent for a case.
Yeah, it was a book. The problem was like books copyright couldn't be cleared because they didn't know how do you handle AI art. Is it the person that generated it, the person that coded the AI to make the art? Who owns it?
Mm-hmm.
And the courts came down and basically ruled that hey, the AI art can't be copyrighted, but the rest of the book could be. you could use that same art, but you couldn't use.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're gonna run into that same problem. Somebody's gonna do it with a game where they use AI to use Chat GPT to make a story, and someone's just gonna rip that story, make their own game. What was your own?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then final story we're gonna talk about is basically the context is here, so people are aware, is that Activision Blizzard has announced that employees who are not separately approved for permanent work from home, which some of these employees do exist, so it's not technically affecting everyone, but it's affecting everyone who was just working from home kind of during the COVID time, is pending your studio location in either April or June. Most Activision Blizzard studios will be switching into a hybrid model versus most of them are operating on, my understanding, is a mostly remote or fully remote model for their staffing. I think it's an interesting question because obviously this is it's not the biggest headcount, but it's one of the biggest headcounts and one of the biggest publishers in the world now switching into this. And I'm curious, do you think we will see other studios follow through, or do you think kind of how's the divide happen? To put in context, studios like Insomniac and Bungie have publicly stated and have stuck to, we are a studio that lets remote people happen. And they literally, like, on their websites will tell you, list the states you can be from, because there's, like, legal entities and all that fun stuff. Comparatively to, like, Iron Galaxy, who has directly said, we are a hybrid studio and we will be one forever. So I'm kind of curious, do you think there will be more shifts of studios that have not made a stance yet? Do you think that maybe this is some people are arguing that this is a trick for, like, Activision 6 months from now to now be like, and now we're a fully in-person studio, and they want to get... One of the things I've seen also is that there is a discussion broadly, because there's an assumption when this merger goes through that Activision will, or Microsoft will be having some layoffs in the games division, obviously for the combined overhead problems. And this is probably a clean way to get some people to quit. And now you have less layoffs in the future. I'm kind of curious where you thought when you see the story and do you think this will be affecting other studios too?
I mean, here's the problem, right? Like, if you were a studio that was in person pre-pandemic, always going to want to go back to, right?
You have
Because
made structural changes, yeah.
because you know how that works, and you had a proven work. If you were someone that was remote before the pandemic, you're going to stay remote, right?
Hmm.
The problem comes,
or if you got approvals during, but
yeah. The problem comes when people, like, so many people just up and left, right?
I am very curious about, because obviously there are stories of, in the housing markets, general markets, that a lot of people moved further out to new areas or suburbs that are further from their places they work at.
There's some people that just straight up moved across the country.
Yeah. And I always thought that during that too is you were playing a high risk game if you didn't separately get this approved.
Yeah, like the people that were going, oh, they said we can work remote, and now I'm moving to South Dakota because I can buy 100 acres and have a big house for the same price as the rent on my place. Let's go.
It's not like saying, because there are 100% where people that I know in the action pipeline or the EA pipeline and stuff that literally got written down approvals of you could remote forever. Those aren't the things we're talking about. It's the people who just went up and went boof.
Yeah. The people that they pulled the pin on the grenade and just held it. And now Activision is going to slap it out of their hand. And it's just going to land at their feet. Nothing they can do. So, also, it's a nice way to put it. I don't know if there really is a nice way. there are the vocal minority of game developers don't seem to know what it's like to work a 9 to 5 in the. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, like it's no secret. I have more of a. I think it's fair to say. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have a more white collar job than you do, but yeah, I think we come from a similar background of understanding,
Like
understanding what that is.
you and I know what it's like to put in a 9 to 5 and get up and it's dark. Come home from work, it's dark, right? But that's what you got to do. Get
Mhm.
shit done. Because people are dependent on you. There are too many people in this space that don't have that same mentality. Where they're like, oh, I'll just release it whenever. Or, you know, oh, I've got 6 months to do this project. You know, I'll take 5 months off and then work on it for a month. Which for some people that might actually work.
Mhm.
Too many people it doesn't. And that office mentality of going in and seeing other people work makes you work. Right? When you wake up and you're the only one in your house, maybe cats or your dogs, don't have the same desire to work. So these people that are complaining about going back to work, I'm sorry, I don't feel bad for you.
I, I think that there might be a disagreement between you of I think there's a when it comes to at the end of the day it's Activision's a right to do this, I'd argue. I just think it's a bad business in Activision because I don't understand the what you get out of forcing people back, but especially the forcing people back who don't want to be there, I think is gonna probably negatively hurt that company more than help it would be my guess.
Oh, absolutely. Like there are people that are going to quiet quit at Activision. And that's fine.
And
The problem is, right, like remote stuff works for smaller teams, right?
I like it. Yeah, there are I work for a company that is 100% remote, and it works, but it also work company of 20 people, right?
Right.
It's like in any project, there's four of us, and
Activision is a listed company with what, 15,000 employees probably?
and also part of it is we have to count for there are sub teams
Yeah.
too.
So you knew that going in, right? Like you accepted the position at Activision knowing that it's Activision. You know, it's one of those things, right? Like I can't feel bad for you. Put yourself in this position.
It's not like a none of that happened, and they're like, well, how did this happen type stuff.
Yeah. So if you want to go work fully remote, there's studios where that's the thing. I can probably guarantee you that none of those studios are listed on the NASDAQ.
Trying to think if there are. Yeah, well, Bungie and Insomniac are both under Sony, and that would be.
Yeah, but they have like a true hybrid. They have physical offices that you could go to.
But there's also a good chunk of in some, I always see it running on LinkedIn or Twitter, and they're like, you can work from 47 states, and they really only have two studio structures. The people in those other 45 states are just remote people.
Yeah. So, you know, just don't see you don't see big studios going full remote because it just doesn't work. They have shareholders that they need to answer to, and they need to be able to show concrete. Remotes just don't allow that. So
It'll be interesting to see kind of what happened kind of the next few months, and I'll be curious if when that Activision deal finally closes, what all does Microsoft turn around and go, "Oh, we don't care. You remote"? Because like Microsoft, like my understanding is they were allowing like remote for most teams.
Yeah.
Tweet. Oh
Which again,
well.
I have no problem if the parent company is fine with that. But you want to know something? My mom works for a Fortune 100 company, right?
Mm-hmm.
When she was working remote, because I get nothing done. And side of that was she was in the office, it was 9 to 5, right? When you're remote, it's 24/7. You know, if you're working fully remote, there's no excuse of, oh, sorry, I wasn't in the office. I didn't see that come through. Or, hey, it's after 5, I'm not answering work email.
Mm-hmm.
You're remote, you're available 24/7. Tough titties. If you want that 9 to 5, you got to go to a place that offers a 9 to 5.
So yeah. Okay. And that is all we got for news. Let's jump into what's coming out soon. Big stuff coming out soon. RE4 Remake comes out on the 24th. Crime Boss Raquet City comes out the 28th. Dead Island 2 comes out April 21st. It's undelayed because it was the 28th and now it's 21st. Jedi Survivor comes out April 28th. I assume that's a AJ game right there.
Oh, that is definitely an AJ game. Now that you can dismember people, that is definitely an AJ.
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom comes out on May 12th. Suicide Squad, oh fucking hell, comes out on May 26th.
Hey, it's always online.
Street Fighter 6 comes out on June 2nd. Diablo 4 on the 6th. Final Fantasy 16th on June 22nd. Starfield's just here because we don't have dates on it. Redfall comes out May 2nd, in theory. And then Skull and Bones, I think comes out next year, right?
What comes out first, Beyond Good and Evil 2 or Skull and Bones?
Beyond Good and Evil 2 doesn't actually come out ever. Skull and Bones, I think at this point they're going to try to release this fucker.
Well, that's another thing, right? Like, he is a listed company, so is there some pressure just to fart out whatever you can?
Also, it's so weird to me that it's listed as one of the platforms Skull and Bones is the Amazon Luna.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Ubi ports their stuff to everything.
They do. They was gonna come out to Stadia. God. To put in perspective, this is a real fact. When I was at GDC last time, Google Stadia was announced that morning. I am going to GDC in 3 weeks, and Stadia is gone.
Stadia is not gone. I've got my controller right in front of me, baby.
But do you appreciate how wild that is?
Dude, if Google owned YouTube from the start, YouTube would have been closed in 2008.
YouTube wasn't profitable, I thought, until like the 2010s, too.
Yeah, it was fairly recently.
Alright. And lastly, we gotta talk about Movie Club. I gave us 4 movies to choose from. I think it's really between 2. The other 2 are more there for a joke. So here are the films that come out in March that I think actually might matter. Creed 3 comes out real soon. Yeah. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which we're not actually watching. I just wanted to shout out that it's actually finally coming out after years of delays. Pinball, which in a different month, I actually might try to put some pressure on, but I'm not pretending this month is a viable movie. And then John Wick. Now, here's the honest answer, though, AJ. Both Creed 3 and John Wick, I think independent months would be viable movie clubs.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's the problem, is we actually have, like, a real thing to discuss, I think, for once, because, like, they're both, like, legitimately, gonna be hits.
If Wick got delayed it a week in April, This is the easiest decision in the world.
Okay. If Creed 3 came out a week earlier, a week later, there's no question what this is.
Yeah.
They're literally the two ends of the months.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately.
we've done both of their movies before them.
That's true. What one do we want to sequel up first?
Oh, God.
The finale of the series? Actually?
I think it is.
Or
Or
the continuation of John?
my vote would be Creed.
It's funny. So is mine.
Okay.
I was
That was
hoping you'd say one or the other. Actually, honestly, I'd hoping you'd say John Wick, so I could say. So then we could have a little bit of a discussion.
I think it makes the most sense. It's very soon.
Yeah, the problem also is John Wick comes out at the end.
Right. And we're going to probably both sing in April at some point. But yeah, I think that's the. So the answer then is Creed 3. It comes out as this comes out. So go to your local cinema. Go check it out. And let's be honest, we will be participating in the major watch. Good luck to everyone. Now here comes the question before we wrap this sucker up in a nice bow.
So,
is there a world in hell where John Major, like, it ends with him winning the title? Like, is this like they're passing it off, do we think? Or is this like now we're going to cement Michael B. Jordan as the champ and we're just moving on with their life?
well, I mean, the whole story, right? Jonathan Major's character was sent to prison.
Mm-hmm.
In the Rocky cinematic universe, the bad guy never wins. Like, at the end of the movie, the bad guy's never the one. Title.
It might be like somewhere during the movie he wins, but he's never, yeah.
So I think we see Adonis Creed walk out of the ring, title on his waist. And nobody's the wife. It just fades to black. That's all we need.
We need to do we need to do like how in their first two Rockies, where like sure it matters who wins, but like it doesn't. Like that's not the point of the films. Like we need one of those moments again, where like it's announced like while the credits start rolling.
Yeah, that could be good.
That'd be good. So yeah, that will do it for us. Go check out your local creeds. And yeah, AJ, what are you up to these next weeks? Anything fun?
A shit ton of hockey games.
Like it. Well, perfect. We will see all of you next time.
But
the SWW Show and all of its affiliate podcasts are podcast by me, Mike Maroney, and AJ Losi, sometimes by our contributors, including Corey King. You can follow the SWW Show on social media at the SWW Show, or sooner or later you go to patreon.com/SWW to help us out. Thank you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day.